I was reading about this Standard Glass Lining IPO, and it seems like a pretty big deal, like 410 crore rupees big.
Oh, yeah, that's a decent amount for an IPO. It's a book built issue, which means the price isn't fixed, right?
Exactly. The price band is between 133 and 140 rupees per share. So, what does book built actually mean, like in simple terms?
Well, it's kind of like an auction where investors bid within that price range, and then the final price is decided based on demand.
Ah, okay, I get it. So, it's not like buying something with a set price tag at the store, right?
Right. It's more dynamic, like a mini stock market happening before the stock even lists. And it's a mix of new shares and existing shareholders selling, which is interesting.
Okay, so it's not all new money going to the company. Part of it is just shares changing hands, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, precisely. They're issuing 1.5 crore new shares, and then some existing shareholders are selling about 1 and 4,300 crore shares. So a bit of both, actually.
Mm-hmm. So when does this whole thing actually happen? Like when can people start buying in?
The IPO opens for subscription on January 6th and closes on the 8th. So it's a pretty short window for investors to get in, Edward.
Gotcha. So like a 3 day sprint. And then when would we know if we even got any shares?
Well, the allotment is expected to be finalized on the 9th of January, and then the shares will probably get listed around the 13th. So it all moves quite quickly.
Okay, so not a lot of time to overthink things, I guess. What's their main business actually?
They manufacture engineering equipment for the pharmaceutical and chemical sectors, which is pretty specialized in niche.
Ah, that's why the name is Standard Glass Lining. It makes more sense now. It sounds important.
Yeah, they make equipment used in drug manufacturing, like reaction systems, storage, and drying systems. So, pretty crucial stuff, actually.
So they like the behind the scenes guys for the pharma industry, like the suppliers of the essential tools.
Exactly. They also offer turnkey solutions like design, engineering, installation, everything basically, end to end.
Wow, that's a full package deal. What about the money they're raising? Where is that actually going?
Well, a good chunk of it, about 130 crore, is for repaying debt. So they are clearing up the financial books.
That's smart. Less debt means less pressure. What else are they planning to do with the rest of it?
About 30 crore will be invested in their subsidiary for some expansion. And then there's some set aside for inorganic growth and acquisitions.
Okay, so they're looking to grow not just organically, but through acquiring other companies. That's ambitious, right?
Exactly. They're also putting some into buying new equipment and some general corporate expenses as well.
So it's like they're trying to grow in all directions. They must be pretty confident in their future, right?
I guess so. It's always a bit of a gamble when you buy into an IPO. The gray market premium is pretty high, though it's trading way above issue price.
Yeah, I saw something about that. What's the gray market premium exactly, and how does that affect the IPO?
The gray market premium, or GMP, is basically the premium that people are willing to pay for the shares in an unofficial market before listing.
So it's like an early indicator of how the stock might perform once it lists, right? It's almost like a predictor.
Exactly. And it can influence how the stock will perform on the first day, but it's not a foolproof indicator like anything else in investing.
So it's not a guarantee, but it does show that there's a lot of interest, which is a good sign for the company, right?
Yeah, a high GMP usually indicates positive sentiment, but we'll still have to wait and see how it performs on listing day. So it's not all the story.
So it's like we're watching a play unfold before our eyes, and the gray market is just the preview. Well, what's the minimum investment for retail investors?
The minimum lot size is 107 shares. So that works out to about 14,980 rupees at the upper end of the price band.
Okay, so that's not too bad, relatively speaking. Makes it a little more accessible for smaller investors.
Yeah, and it's good to know how many shares you need to buy to get in on the ground floor, so to speak, right?
Right. Well, this whole IPO thing, it's quite a ride. What do you think about all this? Any key takeaway for the listeners?
Well, it's a pretty interesting company, and the GMP does show positive interest, but it's important to do your own research and consider your risk appetite.
Absolutely. It's like diving into a pool. You need to check the depth before you jump, right?
Exactly. And it's always good to remember that even with a high GMP, the stock market can be pretty unpredictable, like a roller coaster.
So, for those of you at home, is the potential return worth the risk? That's the big question with every investment, right?
Precisely. It's always about balancing potential rewards with the associated risks, and IPOs, well, they're no exception.